Hello everyone, Kaibora here, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that will help you make money and be profitable in Escape from Tarkov. And if you enjoyed the information I provided, giving the video a like and subscribing helps me out very much. One of the first things I would like to go over with everyone is that when you are selecting your gear for a raid, you want to make sure everything complements each other. And the reason you want everything to complement each other is because it's all about being cost effective. Now, if you bring tier 5 or tier 6 armor, yes, it increases your chance of absorbing a lot more shots compared to tier 3 or tier 4, or even no armor. But there's actually some tactical value to going armorless because you don't get the stat reduction from wearing armor. So that is also an option to not even wear armor, even though, in my opinion, I would always recommend to bring armor because being able to absorb some shots is still very crucial. But it's all about managing your money. So if you're low on money, not bringing armor is okay. You just have to focus on being hit less, which is a valid tactic. And even when you do have armor, the number one goal is to not be hit at all. But, it's not always possible. But in regards to the gear that you're bringing, with wearing tier 5 or tier 6 armor, but you're not bringing a gun to match, you're probably not going to be able to kill the target that's shooting at you to begin with. So there's really no point in wearing something that costs a lot. So that's why bringing gear that complements each other is more cost effective. And you will see here that this is actually pretty low gear. My armor is actually severely damaged, and I actually wouldn't recommend using armor that the points are under 35. Realistically, you don't want to use anything under 40, but at this stage of the wipe, you can kind of get away with using stuff like this. I mostly am because I'm trying to do a task to kill PMCs in the office building in factory. So I'm more than likely going to die. So I'm just using it because it's expendable. But in regards to having everything complement each other, that's how you'll be most cost effective. Because if you have a cheap gun, it saves you money. If you have cheap armor, it also saves you money. In regards to gear, you also don't want to modify your guns in a way that you're using a very expensive part where the rest of the gun is just basic. So you know that there are some muzzle devices that cost about 50k but greatly reduce the recoil, which is good. But the ones that are like 50k, it might only reduce it by 10. Okay, yes, 84 recoil is better than 94 recoil, but in the long run, it's actually going to be very minimal difference from the two. And the reason this is for two things. First, if you find a part that's really good, you most likely will want to sell it because it's going to be worth a lot more money than it will be for you to use it, just because that one part can allow you to start saving money, which you don't want to hoard money, but you also still do need money to make money. So when you find parts that are found in raid, definitely sell them on the flea market. Now, when it comes to modifying your gun, you don't want to buy the stuff off the flea market yourself because those parts are so hiked up in price compared to what you can get from a dealer. Now, I will show you one example. You will eventually get this item off of Skier level 3. It's one of my favorite budget foregrips to use. You see, I don't have Skier level 3 yet. I'm only level 22. I still need 6 more levels. But this part from him costs roughly 7k. The flea market sells it for almost quadruple that price. So it's just not cost effective because you're going to end up paying 25K for a piece that costs 7K. Now, if you look at this, the RK2, which is the best foregrip to reduce recoil, costs just a little bit more than that budget piece does. This is 26K for the best foregrip to reduce recoil in the game. So it's all being cost effective. And I know that can be hard because that's one of the most exciting parts of this game is modifying and building your own guns. And it's amazing. It's fun. There's a lot of options to choose from. It's just overall exciting and enjoyable. But we're talking about making money and being profitable. So you're going to have to make the sacrifice of not making this amazing gun that costs so much money, because then more than likely you'll end up being broke. Now, it is good to generally use good guns, but when you can buy them off a dealer. For myself, I don't make any guns unless I can get the parts from a dealer that I currently have unlocked. And it's just the best way that I make money. It works for me, and it's a sacrifice I have to make. I don't actually start to get anything good until Skier 3 unlocks. There is some stuff from Peacekeeper that works pretty good at level 2, but most of the stuff I just have to hold off on. And that actually can bring up to another point I want to make, is the guns that you choose to use. Early wipe, shotguns, at least for me, have been amazing. SKSs are always great because they're still effective without having to upgrade them. And using the PS ammo that you can buy off proper for 91 rubles per round, it's still an amazing bullet and will still do so much for how cheap it is. And me personally, I love the iron sights on the SKS. I think they have the best iron sights in the game, but, you know, that's just me. You guys probably heard me bring up shotguns. You're like, oh wow, shotguns? I haven't had good success with them. And yes, they're very hit or miss, but early on in the wipe, they can be pretty effective with even basic ammo. I know this is Magnum buckshot, but even the 7mm buckshot that you can buy off Jaeger level 1, it actually still kills people too. And I'm even surprised at myself, because I'm just going to show my stats real quick. I just want to go down to what I've killed. So I have got 171 kills total. I know it's not much to brag about because my PMC kills are lower than the scav kills, but the point I'm trying to make here is my shotgun kills. Almost half of my kills are from a shotgun. I have been really enjoying shotguns. They've been pretty effective with me. Interestingly enough, I have the MP153 equipped, but that's actually not the main one I've been using this entire time. I've been actually using the 133 or the Mossberg 590A1 shotgun. I have also been using the Saiga and the M870. Now, this will actually bring in to my next point, is I know this is a little daunting and it's probably a little embarrassing because I don't really have room to offload this stuff, but it's not necessarily a bad thing because the stuff does stay in there for a couple days, and some of this is also from the drops that are currently going on, and I just have not claimed the stuff yet for whatever reason. But this is, most of this is insured stuff, and more times than not you will get your insured stuff back. And at this point, I can either use it or sell it, because when you insure something, it costs roughly about 1/6 of the total cost of the item, which would be about 1/3 of the price that you can sell it for. And that is good because it's very cheap to insure a gun or any item that you bring into a raid. always insure all my face covers too, because yes, they're very cheap to buy, but it will still add up over time. You know, if you go in a raid, you die 5 raids in a row within an hour. What? The balaclava from Ragman costs almost 3k. Let's say you did 10 raids in an hour because you just go in, you die right away. That's already 30k. Like, yes, you will probably have to buy more because you keep dying, but eventually you'll get those back on insurance. And the cost to insure it is really cheap. So it costs me almost 3k to buy, right? And now look, you can sell it back and you get more than half, which that is about what, 55%, maybe 60%. But now if you choose to insure this, it costs 415 rubles to insure. That is about 1/4 of that. Now you're probably saying, what? I don't care about insuring my balaclava. That's just a small and insignificant thing to me. And yes, it may seem so, but it's still about being cost effective, because it costs you 3k roughly to buy it. Then you insure it for 415. So if you get it back 7 times, in each time you get it back, it'll be an extra 415 rubles instead of 3k rubles. So you can use it for 7 times, which would cost about the same of buying one for one time. Now, going on to the stuff that you actually care about, the guns. So yes, you can look to see what mechanic will buy the gun for. So he'll buy this basic AK-74N for about 20k. Now, it costs to insure is 5k, about 1/4 the price. So you insure it for 1/4 the price. Now you use it. So you die, you get it back, you insure it again, that's another 5k. Compared to what these normally cost, which are going to be roughly 30 to 40k. The normal price is 40k. So it's cheaper to just insure it and get it back. So you use it twice, costs you 5k each time to insure, that's 10k. Get it back, use it again, and insure it again. So it's 15k. Let's say you get it back after the 3rd time. You can choose at this point to sell it, and you'll get 5k profit compared to the 3 prior times you insured it, or you can continue to insure it. It's still cost effective. And it's just about how you can keep making money by insuring, because it works for me. Look at all the stuff that I get back constantly. I don't even have room to off-store it all, but I can just go and run a bunch of raids and just use this recycled stuff. And within all those raids, whatever I can put inside my secure container that I can sell, that's profit. You know what I mean? The stuff is recycled. I'm getting it back to use it again. I consider it free, because when I died, someone else could have gladly picked it up and got away with it, but they didn't, so I got it back. So that's why I consider it free. Now, I just hit on the point of putting stuff in the secure pouch. This is also a crucial way that I make money as well. So you'll see in my gamma, I don't really have anything too important. You know, having a CMS in there is really nice, but painkillers are cheap, and splints are cheap, and IFAKs are just, it's so easy to get them when you go to places. There's medical places to loot, so it's abundant. So let's say you're in a raid and you come across something that's nice, right? So let's say your secure container's full, there's nothing too rare in there, but you come across something that's nice. Let's say you find this. It's okay to take out the ammo. I mean, unless that was like BS for 545 or M855A1 for 556, or, you know, another important ammo type, don't take it out. But this one's pretty cheap. So I'll use a better example. Take out the painkillers. It's 5K. This right here is worth way more than the 5K. Like, yes, I know these are the prices to look at on the flea market, but it's still a good guess to where the item value is placed at. Now, let's say you don't actually want to use this site. I love them, by the way. I love all holographics. I think they're amazing. So, let's say you died with this in your secure container. You can't sell it in the flea market, but if you absolutely need money, you can still sell it to a dealer. And look, it sells for 11K. The painkillers that you took out to replace it were only 5K. So you made a difference of 6K. Like, yes, you'll probably have to buy more painkillers to replace that, but more than likely in the engagement, you should have popped one or two, and it's just an example. To be able to take out stuff that can be replaced easy and for a different cost than the stuff that you replaced it with. Here's a better example. Let's say you just found a silencer during a raid, right? And I know you're probably all thinking, hey, where did this pressure gauge come from? But let's not worry about that. I already have that in my secure container. So you find this, like, yes, the objective is to get out and live, but that's not always the case. This is just what works for me and how I'm always able to make money and be successful. Now, I would take out the painkillers and the splint or the IFAC because, well, first off, you can never have too many healing that you can have access to. And because I only have a cheese currently in place, I need something that can quickly stop a light bleed. But by taking these two things out, I can put that in there. So let's say I die, right? If I die at this stage, you would probably need a pressure gauge to construct a hideout upgrade. I personally don't because I already have it completed. But nonetheless, this is actually still good to sell as well because, sure, it's not found in raid, so you can't get the price that it shows here, which is enormous. But especially if you need it, you can just use it on your hideout upgrade. But on top of that, if you absolutely still don't need it, it's still worth a decent amount of money to sell to a dealer. Like, you can't beat that. 2 slots for 36K. It's a little bit over 15K a slot. That is still worth more than anything else that you currently have on you. The stuff that you took out, because this ammo is very, very cheap. So right there, 36K. And so let's say you didn't make it out. You have this. So you can't sell it on the flea market for that price. But this silencer, it goes for the same thing to a dealer anyway. So now you can just sell it if you don't want to use it. And you literally just took out the IFAC and painkiller. So the painkiller is 5K. And the IFACs are going for about 10K. And most of the time, they're just easy to find anyways. And so now you did that, and now you have this stuff that you literally can sell for over 50K between these two items. That's if you die. And, the point of that is to know what to take out of your gamma container to replace with something that you can sell for more than what the item is worth. Because, like, yes, it's like, oh, well, that might be my only CMS, and now I don't have access to another one. But if you just put in that pressure gauge that's worth 36K, yes, on the flea market, it's going to be close to the same to get another brand new CMS kit. But this is what's also important to keep in mind too. The CMS was already used twice, so the value is not the same. So getting rid of a CMS kit to put in that pressure gauge, you're still going to make profit. Even the difference from a brand new CMS to the pressure gauge is still 3K. That's still profit compared to no profit or not coming out with anything of value. And it still serves a purpose because you do need to sell stuff for reputation points to the dealers. So you're still getting more out of it than what you may first realize. And I know I already showed my overall, and you can already see that I'm only sitting on just a little over 2.5 mil. But my hideout is almost at the stage that I needed at to start making money from a Bitcoin farm. All I'm waiting for is my intelligence center to finish upgrading, and I will be able to construct this Bitcoin farm. Yes, I know I only have one out of the power supply units, but this is okay because I will greatly sacrifice all my money to get all those parts to be able to construct the Bitcoin farm, because then I start making the passive income from farming Bitcoins, which is the best and easiest way just to consistently get money, because you don't have to do nothing. You literally just make sure your gasoline is in your generator, the power's on, and the Bitcoin will farm. And yes, you will have to buy gasoline, but Jaeger sells gasoline at level 2 for roughly 90k. And it's just still cost effective because the gasoline lasts for 25 hours and or 24. I think it depends on your hideout management skill. So the Bitcoin sells to therapists as of right now for roughly 400 to 450k, which is a lot. But now, even if the Bitcoin does go down and it's around 200k, that's still insanely good. To get one graphics card equals one Bitcoin per 25 hours. So it's still 200k passive income coming in. Yes, you have to spend 90k to get the fuel, but that's still 100k profit, and it's still something better than nothing. So that's just a way that I also build up my money. I know I talked about guns before already, but I just want to go back to using ammo, because good ammo is expensive. And I know this is a little embarrassing because M855 is actually really not that good, but this is the ammo I started off with, and I just chose to not sell it yet. I still have room. There's no need to. And who knows, I might just want to use it as a filler item at the bottom of my magazines, which is actually another good way that I save money. It's because I don't want to go in with my magazine being full of the best stuff just to die. Because what? Most of us, we go in with like 3, 4, 5 magazines. So what I do is my first magazine will be, I'll put 5 at the bottom. Because let's face it, most engagements that you come across when you're fighting people, you rarely ever go through the whole magazine in the beginning. Usually you'll take shots. If you guys go behind a wall for cover, you'll reload, right? And you reload to another magazine. But most of the time, ideally, you want your target dead within your first magazine. And so let's say you do get down to the last 5 bullets. Yes, this is not that great of an ammo, but the ammo that you had on top of it should have destroyed the armor by that point, so that the lesser effective armor penetrating ammo can go through it easier and you can succeed in killing your opponent. But that's not what I really want to focus on with this. I just want it to be known that to make money, you don't want to go in with all your magazines filled with the best stuff. Like this one, the first 5 at the bottom is pretty cheap. Then I put some better stuff. And then my second magazine, I would probably do like 10. And then I'd fill it with better, the rest of the 20 with better. And then if I have a third or fourth, it would just go up. Like my third magazine, I'd probably have 15 of this, because good ammo costs good money. And if you're going into a raid and you're spending 360 rounds, that's ridiculous. So normally, you would probably want to bring in roughly 90. That's still pretty hefty. I mean, if you're considering raid by raid by raid. But it's much better to bring lesser ammo, because look, you're like, well, if I bring 3 mags, it's 90 bullets right there. Yes, it is. But most of the time, you're going to need more than 90. So what I would do is I would buy the 90, and I would make sure that I have 60 of those bullets in my secure container so that I can use that to reload my guns. Now, if I die, I'll have whatever ammo is left in there, and it won't be gone, and then the ammo that I had in the magazines, not all of it's good stuff. And, this is a small detail to it, but let's say the person kills you, right? And you're in your second mag. They go to check the ammo. I'll be like, what? M855? Ugh, I'm not going to take this. You have a greater chance of receiving your gun back. So that is a great way of how I can be cost effective. And to clarify, whatever ammo you put in first gets shot last. So if you're going to fill a magazine with cheaper ammo, put it in first, and then put the better stuff on top, because whatever is on top will shoot first. And talking about all this ammo has me leading to my next point, is I will not buy ammo off the flea market until I have it unlocked from a dealer. You'll never see me spending $744 per round. Not for this ammo. Not for any ammo, to be honest. I would just wait until I have Peacekeeper unlocked. And yes, that does suck that you have to wait, but it's also cost effective. Because if you see, when I go to load ammo, I have 105 rounds sitting around. But this is also why I don't use the guns, and why I have all the M855 sitting there, because I don't have access to easily replenish the good ammo, because I don't want to go broke. And I still get kills with using other stuff. To be fair, I haven't used M855, but when it comes to the shotguns, this Magnum buckshot can be crafted early on in your hideout if you choose to use shotguns. I know I have Workbench 2, but you can craft it in Workbench 1, and it's relatively cheap. You only need a blue gunpowder and a match. You get 120 rounds. And generally when using a shotgun, unless you're using a Saiga that fires really fast, 40 rounds plus whatever you have in the gun already should last you a whole match, because if you go through it, you're probably not being effective with your shots, because sometimes it takes like 1, 2, 3 shots to take down the opponent. Now this does not go through armor, which can make it really hard, but if you place your shots over their head, you'd be surprised at how many headshots that you get. And that's why early on using shotguns is effective, because a lot of people don't have the face shields on their helmets. So this is just another trick that I use, is this ammo is so cheap. I have Jaeger 2 unlocked, so it's even cheaper. 53 a round? That's insane. If I bring in 48 per match, that's 2.5K. That's ridiculously cheap. Instead of spending 700 per round on other ammo, when I still get kills with this. I mean, I know I'm experienced, and I have a lot of time in the game, but I'm not doing bad. Having half my kills, almost half, with shotgun, using Magnum Buck, before I even had access to buy Magnum Buckshot from Jaeger. I was using the 7mm that you can buy from him level 1. Which, I was still getting kills with that. Just, you aim at the head, and sometimes if you even black out a limb or leg, the enemy can die too. So, there's some RNG that plays into that as well. But yeah, so don't buy ammo for ridiculous prices unless you have a way of making money that can support that. Remember, it's all about being cost effective. If you're over here and you're bringing in like a lot of money every raid, and you can buy all this great, amazing stuff to replenish it and still have a profit from the raid, go for it. I'm not saying to not do that, because this game has many different play styles, many different ways that it could work for you. And this is just what works for me and how I'm effective. And this leads me to a further point, is I don't actually buy my guns. All these guns, they're from what I found. Or, you know, I know a couple of them are from the Twitch drops. This Vector I actually got off someone who ditched it in Interchange inside the power station. That bathroom, where that little room is, there's a bathroom off from that little room. And it was just sitting there. And I was like, okay, well, now it's mine. Sorry, but, you know, it's my first and only Vector I've had. Well, to rephrase, first and only Vector I've found and gotten out with. I have access to buy them. It's just the way I play, I don't need to. I have all these other guns to choose from, and I still have to run through them. But this is just how I'm profitable, is I don't have to buy guns. I'll use what I find. Another thing that you can do is to give yourself a spending threshold. So let's say you do want to try out something new. Let's say you just get level 10, so you have access to the flea market. You want to try out something new. And it's a game, so it's fun. You know, you want to try out something that you couldn't wait for, so it's really enticing. But give yourself a threshold. Be like, okay, well, I'm at 2 million right now, so I don't want to go below that. So I'll only spend stuff that won't cause me to drop below my 2 million threshold. It's just something that's worked for me, and usually whenever I get to a certain point, I make myself a new threshold. But relatively, as long as you stay above 1.5 million consistently, that is the best range to have like a spending field. Like, yes, of course, having more money is always better than not, but I feel that if you start to drop below a certain amount of money, it can be hard to get stuck out of it. But I know there's scavs, and that's another point, is running scavs is major, because whatever you spawn with on the scav, it's nothing that costs you anything. It's free gear, and whatever you get out with is just free money. Heck, there's even some times where you can just get on your scav, load straight into factory, spawn in, and get right out. Yes, there is a thing called a run-through, but run-throughs only happen if you extract before 10 minutes of the match has elapsed, or if you haven't gotten enough experience. So you can get a run-through if you extracted within under 10 minutes, if you have not gotten at least 600 experience, which can equate from looting, killing players, or AI. But it's a huge misconception that people feel that you get a run through as a scav, and yes, it is possible, but as long as the match has lasted 10 minutes. So let's say you go to Interchange, you spawn in with 25 minutes left. If your extract is right there, you can get out within 2 minutes and you're good. If you spawned in at like 42 minutes, which I'm not sure is possible as a scav at Interchange, and then you go to extract, it will be a run through because the match starts at 45 or 50 minutes. So if you do it in factory is always 20 minutes, at least in daytime. So if you spawn as a scav at 12 minutes on factory and you head to extract right away, it will be a run through. But if you at least wait till it's under the 10-minute threshold, it will not be a run through. I just wanted to make sure that I got that clarification in this video. But don't be afraid to run your scavs. Yes, don't just run your scavs only, because you need to get experience for your PMC to level him up to be able to have access to vendors, but also you need to get your skills up, because the skills are what make you better at the game as well, and you need them to upgrade your hideout. And I know I hit that point earlier, but a great way to just start making money is to have a Bitcoin farm. And I'm not saying to go broke over it, but definitely have that as a goal to unlock the Bitcoin farm. All I need right now is to finish my intelligence setter to level 2 and to get these power supply units. But it's just going to be a nice passive income that I generate on a daily basis, and it's just another way to be profitable. Now, that doesn't mean to be afraid to spend your money. It's okay to dip below to purchase things, especially if it's containers, because this is really interesting to think about. But the more storage and space that you have, the more money you can make. Because, I might not need all these parts anymore since most of my hideout is getting to be upgraded. But when I do decide to sell them, that's a lot of stuff to sell. And that's just going to be more money in my wallet. And the reason why I am able to have this stuff is because I crafted a Lucky Scav junk box. And that's another point to hit, is if you can, barter for the item or craft it. You can craft a Lucky Scav junk box in Lavatory level 2. I know I have mine at level 3, but you can craft it in number 2. So when you can, craft a Lucky Scav junk box. If you have a lot of money, go ahead and spend the price that people are selling it for in the flea market. It's not completely horrible, it's just it is really a huge price sink. And being able to have storage is really, really valuable. That's actually why I keep all these rigs. I just want to make a statement about when I was talking about upgrading the hideout. It is very good to do so, but I've also made sure to maintain my money at the same time. For like the past week, as I've been upgrading my hideout, I have been between 2 mil to 3 mil. And some of these parts to upgrade the hideout are very costly. And it's probably one of the only exceptions that I make to spend a lot of money on items that aren't actually worth it. But upgrading your hideout is worth it. But also, don't go broke over it. And this might not look like a lot of money, but I'm actually very comfortable being here. And because of all the stuff that I have, I don't actually have to spend the money on anything except my hideout. And I still have all this gear on my insurance that I have to collect and use, so that's even more. And if you look at the overall, my total cost of all items in stash is 27 million. So yes, I know the overall money that I have is low, but it's okay. It's comfortable. I don't actually need that money to spend anything. After I finish getting all the parts needed to construct the Bitcoin farm, then I just get that passive income on a daily basis. And that's not even counting the raids I'll be running to even make more income. Well, that's everything that I have to share from my opinion on how to be cost effective, make money, and be profitable in Escape from Tarkov. I really appreciate you watching the video. Liking and subscribing to the video not only helps me out, but it will allow you to stay up to date on my future videos. I appreciate you. Have a great one, and good luck in escaping from Tarkov.